me to click go live?
Yeah, click go live.
All right. Well, okay, it says we're live. Okay, yeah, we should be good.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. And Jake, thank you for watching your show on Speed Up just to be here on time. Just like we were. Don't you remember when we were on time today?
Yeah, I do. Why is this different every single time?
So I was going to pull up YouTube on my phone so that way I can watch along there. And so hopefully.
There we go. All right.
Well, it shows LangTime as upcoming. Why isn't it showing it? Why can't I find us more easily?
Does everybody see us?
Oh. Sorry. Had to mute my phone.
Right. And
I still sound very distancy.
oh yeah, sorry, I was gonna that should be better. Go ahead, try that out.
Hyvää iltaa kaikille. Does that mean everyone? So like, good evening, everyone.
Hyvää kaikille. So that's good evening, and then I assume kaikille. That's what?
Because kaikki is whole or every, and
It's
so I would assume
allative, right?
like to all. Maybe?
Yeah, to everyone. And then I suppose kaikilta. Kaikilta would be from everyone, I'm guessing.
To everyone, indeed. Hey! Yeah. Look at me being able to read such tiny bits of Finnish.
All right, and let me, I want to try my little tricky now. Okay, good. Now I'm going to try to disappear that, and tell me if it still works, everybody. I think this is on, this is off. Did it appear and disappear?
I don't think I was staring at the screen. Oh, there we go. It just disappeared. Your book disappeared.
Okay, and it's gone now, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. That means I can use the keystroke even when that application is not on top, which is ideal. All right, but actually,
we thought you had done that before.
But actually, to start off with, I'm happy to chat as usual, but to start off with, we are going to go to a different view to resolve the poll. And I just wanted to start there so that we could get to our new normal view, and then move on. So anyway, so all right. The poll. This is actually kind of a simple one. And after this, I'm going to have a bonus poll just for those here, where everybody's opinions counts, but Jesse's opinion matters the most. Okay, so we had this one character that we were working on. It looked like a little bud. This is my rendering of Jesse's drawing, and it was a bud, just like a little, a leaf coming out there and doing its little bud thing. And so I came up with like a glyph shape for it. And then as we developed our new style, I thought that it made it made sense to do it in a number of different ways. And so these were the ways that I gave names. So we have the short king here, where it has been reduced to essentially the X size for this font. That is this kind of size right here, starting at the writing line and ending at, I think that's 1200. That's going to be the basic size for most of our characters, and so that was obviously an option. But of course, the original drawing, it was a little bit taller, And so then I suggested the long boy, which is the same, except that it goes down to the descender line, so 300 below the writing line. But of course, you could also put that up. And so we got this tally one that goes up to the ascender line and still has that little thing, the little bud shape. But then it was like, well, if you're going to make it that tall, why not actually increase the size in the P part of the P shape, and so that was the big one. So those were the 4 options, and almost all of them got votes. C didn't get any.
Oh, really?
Yeah, C got none. So nobody liked that one. Otherwise, they all got votes, but there was a very, very, very clear winner. It was between A and B, the short king and the long boy, and the overwhelming winner was the long boy. So,
okay.
So there we go. Now its little root will be planted in the ground. Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
So there we go. All right. Now let me go back to this other view, and
I gotta say though, as much as I like that one, I think my favorite was actually the short king, but
yeah, it was mine too. But you know, this one is fine.
Exactly, my taste.
All right, so Jesse, you can see where you are on the screen. Your screen share.
Yeah.
And so it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before we devolve into LangTime silliness, I want to, and I'm going to make these yellow so that we know that they were not the winners. And this one will go, that is our new character for Bud, which I'll paste down there. But I wanted to raise something that Jonathan raised shortly after the stream yesterday in Discord, because I think it's worthy of consideration. So when it came to our basic shape for our glyphs, you know, we went through a whole thing. We had a poll, and this shape was the winner, where we have these points at the northwest and southeast corners, and the rounded things at the southwest and northeast corners. Now, following the logic of this shape, I developed this straight, which would be used. And the reason that I developed that one is because if you look, sharp corner, smooth corner, right here, right?
Yeah.
That is why I did that. I think it follows that logic.
It makes perfect sense to me.
Now, Jonathan created this other shape because they suggested maybe this looks better. So on the left is the original, and on the right, they've been flipped. So the straight has been flipped so that the curve points outward. Now,
you know, I had seen on Discord where Jonathan posted the image, and I remember seeing it and being like, what a tiny little thing can make such a difference. And then here I am rediscovering that because I had forgotten about that image until just now.
Yeah. So the thing is, if you just ask my opinion eyeballing it, I think Jonathan's version is better. I think it looks nicer. It reverses the basic logic of it.
It does. It also makes the contrast between the two lines and where they end much greater. So there's that optical illusion that on the right, the line coming down the middle is longer into the middle. And on the left, the line going up the side goes further up the side before it terminates, even though they're actually the same length.
Yeah. And I think that this is a benefit. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like small.
I do want to call out Magpie's comment for earlier. If you heard me laugh a little while you were talking, it was not because of anything you said. It was because Magpie said, "Of course, I prefer the short king. I married him."
Well, that's pretty small. That's even smaller than 12 point, I think. That's 12 point.
Like, I don't even see that you have anything on the white screen.
I know. And here, when I'm looking at it from my vantage point, I understand that you might not be able to see this on YouTube, so I might need to increase the size a little bit to mimic the effect. But I see exactly what Jesse is suggesting. The one on the right looks longer than the one on the left. It's an optical illusion. And in this case, I think it's an optical illusion to the benefit of the character, because the whole point, coming from the lily pad, is that there's this line going down the center. So I think that's better. I'm going to increase it 2 clicks. See if you see.
If you could also get it away from the corner. So it's so far in the corner that it's like this. So like if you could just enter it down and maybe space it over, or just copy and paste that same thing several times.
Yeah.
Okay, so now to me, the size of the shapes is roughly the size of what you see in my document below. So I do think that this mimics. Now I'm going to pick up my phone and do a close look. Isn't it crazy how our eyes are attuned to our own orthography in terms of the language you know the best, or the languages that you know the best? And like when I look at my screen, I can clearly see like K, G, P, B. And then when I look at these new letter shapes, it's like, wow, I gotta really look at what I'm looking at. How's the one on the left looks fatter too?
Mm-hmm.
So the one on the right looks tighter with longer edges. The one on the left looks wider. And I think it's because of the way that it cuts off, right? Like it leans into the outward space, whereas the one on the right leans into the inward space. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Arnei Petrikor asked, would this also mean that the corners would have a reverse logic from the ends? And Jonathan pointed out that yes, this would be the case. And so you might think, well, why don't you just reverse the corners? But if you do that, you just replicate the problem in reverse. They must be opposite in order for this to work. Anyway, so, but yeah, so I'm going to increase, oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, I can't wait to see what's happening. What's happening?
I don't know if this affected what was on the screen, but I meant to increase the font size, or the size here, and I did so on the chat window. I don't know if that got replicated on OBS.
I did not see any changes.
Good.
Yeah, Jonathan agrees. Nothing happened for us.
All right. So anyway, I would just like to get a feeler poll for what people think about this. Let's see, which general shape do you prefer? Original or extra crispy for Jonathan? And while we're doing this poll, I wanted to make an announcement. It's a little old at this point, but I wanted to be sure that we mentioned it on this stream. So as you know, LTS streams at usual times, Thursday at 2 p.m. And we have, this is Pacific time, and we have Let's Have a Booba at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, Pacific time. We used to have George Corley doing Tongues and Runes on Fridays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. George has changed that regular time to 8 a.m. on Saturdays. And is that 8 a.m. Pacific or Central?
I didn't know about the time change. I'm behind. I have been so buried in a particular project I'm working on that, like, every time David's like, oh, did you see this? That was clearly posted somewhere very public that I should have seen. I'm like, what?
It is 8 a.m. Central Time, so 6 a.m. Pacific.
Holy guacamole. Well, congrats to all the European watchers who now have a reasonable hour to watch a Conlang stream. And to our Australian viewers who also now have a reasonable time for a Conlang stream.
And once again, big hello and thank you to Ragdoll, who is watching us from Australia.
Right.
It's an ungodly hour over there.
And wow. Oh my goodness, Jake, I can't wait for that either. Thank you all who have submitted. I need to respond. I think I have 3 more messages I need to respond to for submissions. And thank you. I am seeing them. It's just sometimes I leave messages marked as unread so that way I don't forget to actually respond. And so I promise you I'm getting to them. And yeah, I still got to do my kangaroo rat. I don't know about David. But
I might.
I better do it by the 24th so I can look at submissions and actually put together a podcast for us.
I might not be as finished as I would have hoped to have been at this hour.
Listen, we're in the same boat. It's a good boat to be in.
All right.
I know, Jonathan, right? Like, it sometimes works, and then other times it's just like a number I learned to ignore.
So I think I'm going to go ahead and follow the results of the poll and switch it. Logic be damned, because it looks a lot better. Jonathan was right.
And no, Jonathan, I have not. I had so many ideas as I put the podcast episode together, and then I never actually made a decision about which idea I was going to follow. And then here we are on October 17th, and I still got to do mine. And I've literally known exactly what the challenge has been for 7 weeks as I said it. And I still haven't done it.
All right, there we go. Hopefully that doesn't screw up things when I copy and paste.
I mean, literally, Magpie, even if you just tackle like 1 or 2 sentences, I will happily incorporate like your one sentence that you looked at. Or if you even looked at one word and said, this is how I would love for that sound change to work. Anything, I'm happy to look at it and say, hey, here was an idea someone else had. But also totally get it if you just literally have no time.
All right. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and go through and adjust these endings. It'll be a little tedious, I think, but you know.
As you're adjusting endings, I want to point out that I have realized that one of the reasons I like cooking, and I like cooking the way that I cook, which is I find recipes that I'm very interested in. I may decide to change the recipes, but it's usually a whole thought out process of how I will change the recipes before I do any such thing. Although I will say I freely change the amounts of things included in recipes. Like, for whom is 3 cloves of garlic enough? I mean, I don't know who you are. But I realized one of the reasons I liked it was because I often have so many things running through my brain at any given time that if someone were to just give me straight directions to say, do this, it like calms me and allows me. This is why I was so good in school, right? Like, I loved school. Someone told me what to do all the time. And that's what recipes do for me. And so this is my way of segueing into, David, I need a recipe for what I'm supposed to do today.
Okay, so this is what I would like for you to do. I did something over the course of the break that I wanted you to tell people about, and that was the word for builder. Remember? Because I added.
I do remember.
I added the word for
what
build.
It was.
So the word for build is now reduplicated because we had the protoform.
Yes.
And it ended up as the.
Yes.
Modern. So show people that, and we have this word for builder, which showcases a very interesting sound change that we hadn't made proper use of yet, which is, this is a wonderful example of kind of the old dead consonant trick, even though we still have voiceless nasals, right? When you have voiceless nasal codas, they resulted in what you call it, nasality on the vowel, and the nasal disappears. But we also have epenthetic consonants in between nasal codas and fricatives. And so what that means is that you can get pretty interesting consonant clusters in our Beaver language that has no consonant clusters for seemingly no reason. When you have a voiceless nasal coda followed by a fricative, you're going to have an introduction of this consonant that matches the voicing of the following fricative, but is a stop in the place of articulation of the previous. And so with something ending in voiceless bilabial nasal, and then followed with a voiceless S, you get a P. And so a builder is a vampse, with a nasalized vowel and then ps in there. It's kind of cool.
That is really cool.
Anyway, so as we've been, the way that the board game has been going is that, I wanted this original version with the 5 animal kingdoms and the first expansion to have 2 others. The problem is I've designed the expansion, this first expansion, enough that it could actually go with the original. It's not gonna, but it's designed enough that I'm at the point where I need words, but we're not to those languages yet. We're nearing the end of the Beaver language, which is great. We're about to get to the Fox language. I would love to start playtesting the expansion, but I want to do that after I've got words for everything. So I would love it if you would jump ahead to essentially what we do during the patron live streams and start tackling some of this vocabulary that we know we need for the Beavers.
So one thing that scares me about that is this is super important for your game and your cards, and you not actually, super paying attention to it.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh my god.
This
terrifying. Okay.
I gotta tell you, this language is so good. Of our 6 languages, this one's the best.
Okay. But that means I can mess it up horribly. Also, fun fact,
it's on rails. Yeah.
When you find, so it opens up the little find and replace menu. That does not show on the screen. So they couldn't see. So how it highlights the word to build or whatever you search for. It wasn't showing on their screen that it was highlighted, so I needed to go in and highlight it because I was like, oh, I've highlighted the word because I searched for it. Yeah, but it's just interesting that they can't see it, so I was just letting you know.
Okay, what was I going to say? Right. So we have checked off a number of things on my list. The 3 most important things, right, for any of these languages is the name of the animals themselves. We got that one early. Salés are beavers. The name of the language, obviously very important. Nulisu, got that. And the name of the place. And we got that. Pagui. That's great. And so now the next most important thing is figuring out the name of the class that is going to be most closely associated with the beavers. So I came up, we had "dun" already for build. I turned that into a modern word, so it's actually reduplicated. So we have "dun dun" is to build. We have this "danser," which is, I'd say, kind of tough to say. It's really cool, but it's kind of tough to say. I don't know what your experience is out there. Try it. Danser. Danser, danser, danser. I think if you get used to it, it gets easier. But the question is the class that is most closely associated with these beavers. They're engineers. They're going to be polyfunctional, so kind of well-rounded. And they're going to be a little bit like spellcasters, a little bit like tanks, a little bit like bards. Not bards. Rogues, because what they are going to be able to do is they're going to be able to repair structures. So this means they'll be able to repair the tanks, which have their separate durability track. They're also going to be able to repair traps. So if a trap has been triggered, they'll be able to repair it and make it work again, which I think is a really cool idea. They will also be able to raise stuff. So they'll be able to raise structures, raise traps, and use those as resources. And these resources can be used to build things. So they'll have a little deck that's kind of like a spell deck, where they will be able to build various structures that will help out their allies. They'll be able to build things like simple walls just to block stuff. They'll be able to build like a little fort so that you could stand inside it and shoot, but then you have to destroy the fort to get at the person inside. They'll also build turrets, so just these little things that can shoot in a radius automatically depending on what comes in range, and build stuff like that based on kind of the amount of resources that they have. Anyway, and it'll be the type of thing that once it's built, it's spent, and they won't be able to build it again unless they essentially buy it back with resources, which they can do by raising other structures, things like that. Anyway, so that's kind of the class. And because building is so inherently important to the beavers, I didn't know if, Dompsé would take care of it, or if like Dompsé would be, because like I had this idea maybe, and if Dark Horse is here, maybe Dark Horse can chime in. Maybe this would be a word that is more, since it's older, like more important to them as kind of like, like Sisu to Finnish, where it kind of like describes their character and quality or something. I don't know. I had written something like that in the definition. But they might also distinguish different types of builders or somebody that builds and repairs. But essentially, that's everything the class is going to do. So with that in mind, I don't know. Give it some thought.
Can you quickly, because it's hard for me to change screens without messing things up on your view.
Yeah.
Are you able to tell me what the expansion pack holds for the beavers in terms of, like, obviously we have an engineer, but how many engineers and at what star level, and then what other ones do we have?
Yep, here we go. So we have
I'm major allergies in my left eye right now. Like I am.
Do you want an allergy pill to give to your eye that it'll swallow?
No, but I will put eye drops in later.
Okay, Puggy, here we go. All right, so they have three. So you ready to take this down? Mm-hmm. They have 3 engineers, tiers 2, 4, and 5.
Okay.
They have 2 warriors, tiers 1 and 3.
Okay.
Only 1 rogue. Huh, it's kind of funny. Tier 3. 2 of the druid characters, 3 and 4. 2 soldiers, tiers 1 and 4. Oh, 1 caster or mage. That's really getting out there. Tier 2. Makes sense. And then 3 tanks. Tiers 1, 2, and 5. All right.
So there's 14 of them?
Yeah. So with the expansion, all the kingdoms are going to have 14, because in the original they all have 10. The old ones got 4 new ones.
Because of the new classes, yeah.
Yeah, and then the new kingdoms, they just have 14 to match. And they got 4 new ones based on a very specific metric. That is, they got 3 things they already have and 1 thing that they didn't. So dogs now get a dog bard, a tier 1 dog bard.
As they should.
Yeah. Let's see, the cats.
Sorry, I didn't respond very quickly, but they should.
The cats get an engineer just because I found the notion of a little cat wearing a bandana and holding a big wrench with some grease spots on it, wearing overalls. I found this very charming. Tier 1, though. Tier 1. The rabbits get... oh, yeah, that's right. They get a gambler, a patawada. The old rabbit coming back. The opossums... these are the new thing they get. You know, they get some of the old thing as well. The opossums get... they also get a gambler, but a poorer one, the Tier 1 gambler. The mice get an engineer because, of course, I mean,
obviously.
They had to. And the who is this? Oh, this is the foxes. The foxes have 3 gamblers, 2 necromancers, 2 casters, 2 archers, 3 rogues, 1 bard, and 1 healer. So, I mean, they were leaning heavy into the gambler, rogue, and bard strands. I'm very excited about those foxes. And our first, official a posteriori language. Yeah.
Indeed. And Miles says that I am hard to hear. Am I still hard to hear? Do I need to speak up? This is I knew that earlier I had been, but
I thought we got the button correct here. Let me take a look at this. Wait a minute.
So yeah, Miles is saying it sounds like I'm far away from the mic. Oh.
Sorry. Okay, let's test this for a little bit. Jesse, how much television did you watch in 3rd grade?
Not a lot, David. Not a lot. We were limited to... I always, like in my head, I keep thinking it was 30 minutes a day. But it must have been 30 minutes plus Wheel of Fortune. So we were always allowed to watch Wheel of Fortune with our parents. But then like one show. And so, give or take. Not all nights were there shows that, I was interested in though. So some nights it was just the Wheel of Fortune. And then that's why I like Saturday mornings so much, because our reward for not waking up our parents on Saturday mornings until they decided that they were awake was that we got to watch as much TV as we wanted until they woke up. And so we were quiet as mice and watched the Saturday morning cartoons. And I think I got a good solid 2-hour chunk in most mornings, because my sister and I would wake up while that test bar was still running, where it's like you turn on the TV and there's actually nothing airing. So they just had the color bars. We woke up while that was still on the TV screen, and we'd turn it on and just wait for our shows to start. And so
yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of young people who are going to be completely unfamiliar with what we're talking about.
David, I think there's a lot of not so young people who are probably very confused.
Yeah, and they probably also don't remember the sign off where at least for one of the stations that we had, they would play America the Beautiful, and they would have a flag waving, and they would say, and this concludes the day's broadcast, and so on. So nobody is responding with if this is better. Mm-mm. That was what I was hoping for.
Miles,
audio.
You had never seen Gummy Bears until Remy introduced it to you? Oh my goodness. Wait, David, have you seen it?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
But the thing is, like,
I just had to make sure, because I loved Gummy Bears.
Yeah, but the thing
and
is,
Miles
like,
is saying much better.
That Disney afternoon block, right? DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, to a lesser extent, Tailspin and Darkwing Duck. These have made it into popular culture. Gummy Bears never did, and I don't know why.
I feel like Gummy Bears was a Saturday morning, because I watched it, and I promise you I didn't get to watch cartoons at night because...
Well, the thing was, after Gummy Bears, they came up with this idea to do DuckTales, and that was... And then I think it was when Rescue Rangers came out, that was really when they thought, let's do the Disney Afternoon. And so they put Gummy Bears as the first show on Disney Afternoon. Until it was eventually dropped once Darkwing Duck came out, because then they had their 4 shows for the block. And they would just push out the oldest one. So no, it wasn't created for the Disney Afternoon. The Disney Afternoon was created because of Gummy Bears. That kind of like launched that, in my opinion, golden age of Disney 30-minute cartoon. You know.
Fair. All right, so I think as we're moving along, and people are saying I sound better, so
yeah, that's good.
Awesome. We're gonna go on. David
Yep.
is gonna go back to things. I think what I'm gonna do to compromise in my mind, the fact that it feels scary to me to work on these words that are so important for the game that is like literally David's very big project right now. Is that I'm going to ignore the engineer words and work on the other ones first and try to brainstorm good engineer ideas in the meantime. I really want those to be good.
Those are the ones I wanted the most.
Which is why I want you to work on them with me. I don't want to work on
I'm
them
here.
without you.
I'm listening.
David, my brain is so not good today. So I feel like at most I can give you a rogue. All right, but we're gonna do engineer first. David doesn't like my compromise.
No, it's fine. If you have ideas for something, that's what you should work on.
No, the problem is I don't have any ideas. So then I was like, well, let me go to a word that doesn't feel as weighty to like get into it. Hey, as a side note, do you want to show the new images I drew?
I do when I'm ready for them. I'm not ready for them yet. But yeah, I do.
Really, I only super liked one of them, but I liked it enough. No, 2 of them. I like 2 of them enough that I'm like, people can see those. Some of them are just silly, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
It's just, I want to focus on finishing this first so that I'm sure it gets done.
So, Miles, one of the reasons I'm struggling is that the bigger project I'm working on right now is in editing and revision stage. And if you're anything like me, revisions and editing like just drain creativity, because it's like you're not writing it anew, and if you try to write it anew, then you're throwing out what you already had, and at this stage you just don't have time for that, or I don't anyway. And so I just like, my brain is in that hone stage. It's not in the come up with cool ideas stage. And so yeah, I'm struggling to the point when I first looked at the word engineer, I was like, hey, we just need a verb that means to engine. And then we'll just, make it agentive. And here I am.
Ingentive.
Indeed, David. Indeed. Anywho. All right. Now, I saw Jake wrote a thing, and I took down notes. I didn't say anything out loud because we were in the middle of talking about TV, which is obviously a super important discussion for any conlinger to have. And so I didn't want to interrupt that discussion to discuss what was actually on topic comment that Jake had included, which was that engineering involves thinking about site selection, material construction, lodge construction, and maintenance. And so these are all engineer type tasks. It is more than building, because you're actually planning and building and overseeing, picking materials. And so it's like engineering, you get the architecture side, you get the bigger issues side, like city planning kind of issues that you would get. For these, it's going to be battle issues.
There's also the fact that, engineers repair. Like I was trying to think like that, but that's the thing that happens like with engineers in the real world. Right? What am I thinking? No, there's engineers. They drive trains. There's real engineers that do the planning and all that. But like, isn't there some area of life where engineer is essentially a synonym for mechanic?
I think there are.
Or like technician? I don't know.
Yeah. Because you get mechanical engineers and you get a lot of different types of engineers. And one of the reasons that we kind of broadly use this term in a way that like you really have to define whether you're looking at, like Tabby had asked, are we talking civil or mechanical engineering, which is, big. In this case, it's going to be, as David had described, I mean, you got to think they're out in battle, they're out on the field. And so they are constructing things. So they're looking around, seeing what materials are available to them, and creating structures that are necessary for wherever they are at that point in the battle. But then, there are fire engineers. But then they're also like, at some points they're going to be able to like destroy another structure so they can build a new one that would make more sense for what they need. And so in my mind, these beavers are really just able to, David and I recently watched the show Invincible. And in Invincible, there's a character called Adam Eve. And she's able to just like look around her at the world and see all the shapes of the atoms and molecules that are around her, but then like reshape them into something new. And like that's how I envision these beavers, just not at the magical level, but at the like, they don't look at a guitar and see the guitar as a whole. They see it as like, here are strings that can be used for this. Here are pieces of wood that could be used for that. Here are, these screws could be used for this. Like they see the pieces and are able to like envision new ways of using them that are totally out of the box.
I've started a poll asking which one of these is better because now that I've swapped the endings, they don't. It didn't look as good. So I think I don't know. The one on the right is what it would be the original. The one on the left.
Well, it's on your notebook now, so we don't see what we're voting on.
Oh shoot! Well, I wanted to show them though that it was.
So hold on to your vote if you don't know what you're voting on.
It was this, which was
just a second, Patrick.
Which
hold
one
on.
was it? It was the ear. It was the furry ear. Okay, it's representing the furry ear thing, right? Or something like that. Maybe it was like this. Yeah, that was. Okay, so that's what it's representing. Okay, and now hopefully you should be able to see it.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, so the hotkey, it's working.
It is.
That's really exciting.
And it's like, it's really smooth.
Mm-hmm.
The transition. Oh, Bubba, please don't vote blindly, especially in elections in the next month.
Listen, one thing I'm tired of, and I bet the rest of the world is tired of, is our presidential election being kind of like, either things run smoothly or we have doomsday. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if you lived somewhere else in the world and just didn't have to care about the U.S. presidential election, where it was just a bit of trivia? That would be nice.
Unfortunately, with our position in the world, David, I feel that there are actually very few countries who should not care right now.
I know.
Because I feel like other countries should be watching and kind of holding their breath. Like,
no, I know.
Oh dear.
But the thing is, like, wouldn't it be nice if both options were just kind of different, but neither of them was looking to destroy, the entirety of humanity?
How I felt a lot of presidential elections were in the past, where it was like, option A is in my mind better, but option B, if they won, whatever. We got 4 years, we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it feels like,
kind of razor thin here. May need Bibleridian to settle this, but what are you thinking?
Come on, babe. I already voted.
Oh, you did?
I did, because I'm a viewer now. Because I have to use my phone to be able to see things, which I'm taking to my advantage.
Well,
yes, I
right.
voted left.
All right, there we go. There we go. I like it. All right, and then we'll go ahead and retire that character. Put this one back in there. I like that. I like that. A fluffy little ear. Okay, now why don't you go ahead and hand me your notebook open to the appropriate page, because we have reached a point.
I'm going to do that in case you accidentally show. There's something written on that page that shouldn't.
Okay. Well.
But like the way it's bent, it's totally fine.
We've reached a point where we can move on, but that also means we've reached a point where we can celebrate, Jess.
Ooh!
All right. Let's see here. Did I press it? Or actually, I can press it twice.
Just a second. I'm waiting. It's always so difficult because it's... There we go. There it is. It's kind of like the bottom is cut off.
Which bottom?
My bottom. So you got to like move the notebook up.
How much?
I think more than
love
you
this.
just did.
Love this drawing here. But here, I'll kind of move it around.
Yeah, the whole bottom row is cut off.
Terrible.
Of images.
I was completely not aware of that, because that means it was cut off for me as well.
Because the stonefly is the last round that you see, and then the scribbled out drawing is nice and big there.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm just gonna...
Ooh, there we go.
This is so much fun because I'm gonna have to change this every single week.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry, babe.
No, I know. But anyway, there we go. So you can see we have we have the rapids. That's really cool. Apple tree fennel. We have attempted fennel. There's a spider.
No, that was not attempted fennel down there. That was an attempted dandelion puff.
Oh, really? Dang. All right, we have dandelion puff, dandelion, praying mantis, a mound or a hill, groundhog. Actually, this one's an elephant, as I'm sure people will know. Raindrop in water, that's gorgeous. Rain. Stonefly. What is a stonefly?
It was something that somebody had mentioned potentially for use because it's apparently an insect up in the parts where they are. I feel like it, when I looked at images, they kind of looked like deer fly to me. That is what I would have called them. I think if I had just seen one in nature, I may be wrong though about what they are, but it's just a particular type of insect that looks kind of like what I just drew there.
By the way, what's the thing that I said was Sunday? Is that gun dog?
Sundog.
Oh, right, the corona.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't know what to do, so I was just like, a ring around a center circle.
I love this idea of rapids. I'm not sure how that turns into like a single glyph character, but I love that idea. Apple, we got fennel and apple tree, which kind of looks similar when you simplify them. That praying mantis is pretty good. I love this stonefly that you've drawn.
I was very happy with those two. And like it's kind of funny that the two things I was happiest with were the little insects, but I was like, I do like a praying mantis, so they're always fun to see in nature.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I do like that.
Oh, good night, Sissa Languagist.
All right. Well, we're gonna.
Our Ilta. No, wait, not Ilta. Huva How do you say good night?
Hyvää yötä. No, yötä. 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 Hyvää yötä.
Yötä.
So, by the way, I want to make sure that I did, in fact, turn off, like, we're not seeing the notebook anymore.
No, we're not.
Okay, good. All right, let me get up and get us some. Oh, you already got it.
Yes,
oh my
I was
gosh,
waiting
Jesse's
to
so
throw it at
smart.
you,
Jesse's so smart.
I didn't want to throw it until.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
Ooh, hyvä yötä teille. That's to us. That's to you all. Yes. Oh, so exciting. Oh, Mateus, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that you sleep off the roughness and wake up to a much sunnier day.
Tired? Reach for Copico, the #1 doctor-recommended candy for those who suffer from sleep deprivation.
Oh, good. This is going to wake up my engineering mind.
There was a little bit.
Did it crack off?
Yeah, a tiny little flake. Tiny little flake, and it's gone. Dang. Oh wait, there it is.
And Patrick, I was the to us thing was that Sissa Languagist had typed hyvä yötä teillä, and teillä means like to you plural, and so I was saying, hey, it's to us, meaning to me and David.
And it was teillä.
I'm sure to you too.
Teillä, not teille.
Oh shoot, what was it? It was teille. You're right, I was wrong. Nice, Karis.
Man. But listen, Karis, would you rather have something recommended to you by a doctor or a master?
But David?
Yeah.
Or a master doctor, since I do have both.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Just
yeah,
as
Jake, same. I was thinking about that time David ate the Copico off the floor after commenting about the cat litter on the floor. And
this
then still
one
ate
landed on my pants. Anyway, by the way, I will also remind you that another degree I got is bachelor. So,
Do you think I didn't get a bachelor?
yes, you did. He's right here.
Not a bachelor anymore, are you? Ooh, Juno, the humble wasp. Is that... Are you just calling it humble, or is there literally a humble wasp versus a red wasp? Right, Karis? I line up my titles. You got to use all of them.
Okay.
I'm just gonna throw this out here. I won't mention names. There was someone I used to work with who went back to grad school and got a second PhD. And so started signing off on their emails as like name, comma, PhD, comma, PhD. Mm-hmm. It looked like a typo. Like it looked ridiculous because it's like PhD, PhD. And so finally like someone commented on this because it was like, you know that one, it looks like a typo. Two, when people figure out it's not a typo, it just looks real like pedantic. And so then they were like, oh, I'll fix that. And they then signed their name, Dr. So-and-so, comma, PhD. And so that somehow fixed it in their mind. And I was like, that still looks ridiculous.
So that's kind of cutesy. There was a professor at the community college I taught at, Fullerton College. I never met this professor, but who also had 2 PhDs. And insisted that students refer to them as doctor, and their last name. I said, I didn't put in all the effort to earn 2 PhDs for you to refer to me only as doctor. And, you know, that is just like, if I were attending a class like that, I would get up and leave immediately, day 1. Like, I would be done. Be like,
I feel like I would too.
This is somebody that should never be given any power over anybody for any reason.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
All right, so I need to figure out what to do next. I think that this could be a very complex character. I'm very interested in doing that, but we don't even have the word yet. think I'm going to go with nose. I'm going to do that one next. So I now remember why I wasn't doing that one. Because of the little updoot. But I think I'm going to ignore the updoot. Nose is goo, G-U. I know I'm going to find you. There we are. All right, here we go.
So, Viren, in general, like if you say, like if I introduce myself or write, like I'm Dr. Jesse Peterson, that means that I have an advanced degree. And so it kind of takes away the need to write PhD. You can technically do that so that way it's clear that it's like Dr. Jesse Peterson, PhD, not say MD or any of the other doctor type degrees that you could get. But as like a general thing, like you don't normally use both. That's sort of like double titling yourself in a lot of places. It's not like that everywhere, I know. But yeah, it's like saying I'm doctor kind of negates the need for like Jesse Peterson, comma, PhD.
Mm-hmm. I think this is gonna fly.
You're right, Ragdoll. Doctors would be so much easier to say doctors in the plural instead of doctor.
One of the best songs of all time.
Doctor?
Mm-hmm. Iron Maiden fans know what I'm talking about.
Okay. I was like, I don't know.
It's not an Iron Maiden song. It's a song by UFO. But Iron Maiden is, a few bands do this, have something, a characteristic song or songs or something that they play before coming on stage or to indicate that the concert is over. So Iron Maiden always plays Doctor Doctor by UFO because essentially that song invented their band. They were like, this song is incredible. What if there was an entire band that did nothing but this? And so Iron Maiden was invented. Doctor Doctor is an amazing song. No way you would have guessed that it came out in 1976. And they end all of their concerts. This is the when you know that they are not coming back for an encore. When they play Monty Python's Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. Also, like, you know, it's interesting with Radiohead. I don't know if they still do this, but you would know that the opening acts were over and Radiohead was next on stage when they would play reggae music. They would exclusively play reggae music before performing. Let's see. I think this has got to be lowered down.
I feel like master is actually a good word to throw here, what I'm thinking. And George, I honestly don't typically use my doctor title either, but I also didn't use it very often even when I was a professor. I told my students they could just call me Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I've got a list of brainstorming words. Jake, I included the re-prefix, which, yeah, we may end up creating something that just means again. Have some process where we could do like, get this reiterative kind of meaning on it, or iterative. Reiterative is actually kind of redundant when you think about it. But we could do something to create an iterative connotation. kind of like some of our other words in other languages come from, ideas that we had come up with for like what people held up as like, like the great tooth eater and Ingala. Um, and so I feel like, we could kind of play around with ideas like using something like fast or quick to work alongside the word for builder or dompse. To be like, this was a really honored beaver who not only could build but could do it quickly. And they would only mention that they could do it quickly if they also did it well. And so that's up there.
I've got another one. Jess, love for you to look at what's on the screen right here. As a reminder, it's for a nose, and it kind of looked like more nosy. It actually went all the way around originally.
Yeah.
And so this is what we got here.
Now, the nose one I thought though was going to be the diacritic, not a full glyph.
No, it says here it's going to be goo.
Because we changed snout versus nose.
Yeah. That still holds up, right?
It is, but did we have a drawing then? Were we just using the nose drawing as snout?
Well, I mean, snout is going to be far different if we use it.
Okay. Neither of the words were what I thought they were anyway.
So what's the word for nose?
Goo.
Okay.
But I thought it started with a nasal, and it was like, oh, this is going to be a great diacritic. I haven't voted yet, so give me a second.
Sure.
I'm just very confused about what I thought had been a word. But there you go. Okay. Okay. I had to scroll up to see all three options for voting.
You had to squirrel up.
Squirrel up. I did. Okay. Oh. People breaking my heart. Okay.
Tell us how your heart is being broken, Jess.
Oh, I like the center one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Although I will say I like the left better than the right, so.
Well, that's a new one. That's like an actual saw or something.
I actually think it's a drill, and they're trying to put a screw into like a stud, and it's perhaps on a wall that's connected to our unit.
Yeah. Man, ever try to drill a screw in and you ended up hitting metal? Oh, that's a day you won't forget.
I have actually done that, and then what's interesting is that they actually have metal screws, and so then it was crazy because it's like, so we got metal screws and screwed that in, and it worked, but then you're left with, if you're inside your house, metal shavings all over. May have found out two of our doors were actually metal core doors, and we were trying to install blinds on the doors because they were like back, French doors.
Yeah.
And we were doing the blinds to cover the windows, and found out the door was metal, and like didn't even occur to us to check because it looked like a wooden door. Aren't doors wooden? Not all.
Yeah.
So yeah, when the screw happened, that's when got a magnet, and look at that, sticks right to the door.
Yeah, I've made some mistakes in this place. The white shelf. really regret that one. And then, of course, screwing the...
oh, the white...
You know, sometimes you say, do I really need an anchor? Anytime you find yourself saying that, you probably need an anchor. Can't just rip it out now. It was one of those, it's like you have to do this before this and this before this. It doesn't pull out easily. And then there was the, now this one absolutely was my fault. The hanger inside the closet door.
Those were the two things I would have thought of too.
Where you told me specifically, you said, now, I don't know, some doors aren't wood all the way through. I'm like, oh, give me a break. Jesse was right. So they kind of...
So they're not the greatest hangers.
No.
They're meant to be like little knobs on the back of the door to hang sweatshirts or coats. And
Yeah.
They're not the best, but oh, Danielle, sorry to hear that. Hope you feel better soon. If you're anything like me, in 24 hours you'll feel so much better. So fingers crossed, because I did my vaccine do nothing day last Saturday.
Yeah. So I actually love this idea of the sun dog. I would like some more information about that, and we're going to need a word.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was going to be an upcoming poll because we had new images. We needed like 17 new ones. So I've given you...
Oh, I'm sure we'll come up with a poll in the next 50 minutes.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24. I've given you 25 images that are new.
Oh, I forgot about those. I didn't show everybody those. Can I show everybody those too?
They were old ones. I think they had seen most of them last week. But there are like 25 new images. So like one of the things we need to do is vote on like which ones we actually want to use, because I think we needed 17.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I had actually done most of them before the end of the stream. The bottom row is, I think, new.
Did we talk about? Because I remember saying it to you. I don't remember saying it on the stream, but the idea is that, and this addresses something you mentioned earlier, Dark Horse. The insects are going to get a lot larger. Some of them more aggressive, partly just because they're larger, they need more food. But I loved the idea of butterflies being enormous and being used potentially as transportation, like people wrangling them and riding them
after the stream.
Okay, so yeah, these are some more. Yeah, so we could do that. I also wanted to. So I was thinking about this, and Jess, if you could confirm that the book is no longer on the screen for me.
Yeah, it's no longer.
Okay, good. Gosh, I can't believe it's just working so well. I want to show you something. Let's see, hold on a sec. So here, I'm going to temporarily switch views. Go back to basic. Because I want to show you this. So there's this game, Flight Rising. And they invented, like, I've never seen it before. Maybe somebody else has. But they invented these little critters that I find absolutely charming. They're called myths, and they're moths that are, anthropomorphic moths. And like, look at this. Some of them have little armor. This one is carrying a hammer. I'll show you my favorite actually, because this is a newer one. That was it. Look at this little charmer. The Myth Spell Stealer. Look at that, wearing a little hat and holding a little scepter with a little book. This is just really, really charming. Anyway, so I had wondered if maybe there was a way so that some insects, got larger and more aggressive, whatever, but maybe we could have have some myths too. Got what they're carrying their little spells, their little hammers. Anyway.
Well, Magpie, if you get back into it, can't you befriend people and like trade resources and stuff?
Oh yeah, I can give you tons of stuff. I'm drowning in it.
There you go, Magpie.
Yeah. So anyway, I do see your point. There are enough images there that we could actually make a new poll out of that. So maybe I'll hang on to that. It was just that Sundog was going to be really easy. But
well,
maybe
if you want to just pull that and say, listen, we're using this one, we still have 24 images and like 16 slots to vote on. So, you know,
that's
like
true.
It's not a huge
But we
deal.
can do, for right now, we can do this one, the cattail, which little problematic because of its shape. I don't know if it's going to look good. We're going to see.
Dark Horse says some butterflies drink blood. Oh my.
Huh. Whoa. Butterfly vampires. This has never been a part of vampire mythology, but can you imagine, like...
The cape that they wrap around is actually their wing.
Yeah, like they have wings and maybe like antennae, like maybe... Because there's the usual way you become a vampire, right, is by being bitten by a vampire. What if it was being bitten by a vampire butterfly? And so suddenly it's like, you know, they develop butterfly characteristics and need to drink blood. Neat idea. All right, cattails are...
You're right, Tethys. If we did do giant spiders, they would be a good source of silk.
Z. Oh, by the way, I need to... Cattails are Z, so let's take this. We're going to put this here. And now this one essentially has to be that.
All right. If you were a beaver, and pretty much it's ingrained inside every beaver to be able to build at a basic level.
Mm-hmm.
And so to single someone out as an engineer, what qualities would they need to have? And what would be the most esteemed of those qualities?
And would it be different from being an architect, or would that be the same?
I feel like it's slightly different because an architect has time. The engineers who are the engineers in battle have to be fast. Like they have to see it, identify the problem, find a solution to the problem, solver. They have to be able to do it fast, whereas an architect, you could imagine, you know, sitting in their nice little cozy dam and desk and taking their time to design like the best way to do things. But like these engineers don't have that. They have to be able to do it on the go.
Mm-hmm.
Some expression like we have on the go and on the fly. What might a beaver say?
In the stream.
In the stream. Just a second. I'm reading. Visualizer. Okay, I'm gonna put here on the waddle as one suggestion.
Ooh.
Because that was Patrick's. And in the stream or in the rapids.
Oh wait, we solved the issue with bud.
Okay.
So I'm going to do fish next because it's just an augmentation of that.
Oh, no, that is... Juno, I love it. You just gave us an expression we need to create. We need to figure out how beavers would say it. I may need to scroll up. The great eyeballer. Because you need to be able to eyeball a space and figure out how you can build and use it.
Maybe one idea about to eyeball could be to squint. Give it a good squint. Figure it out.
Ooh.
Measure is another one.
Squint, measure. Okay, so, Eric, thank you. Okay, so it's not that they necessarily need to be fast at the problem solving. It's that their solution needs to be robust. Solutions. We're gonna think through what we could do with a robust solutioner. Oh my gosh, yeah. I like that, Karis. 2-star. I love bungs up. I know exactly what you mean, but that sounds so British and wonderful. I'm gonna call it the bunger upper.
Seems like a
quick and dirty. Fill holes.
Seems like an Australian expression. Bungs up, boys.
It's the duct tape user. You know, the one who's like, duct tape fixes everything. It's quick, it's fast, it's dirty, and it works for a while. Ooh, from the back of the hand. Oh, Dark Horse, you may have a point. Bunger may be all I need. I'm going to leave Bunger Upper there just because it makes me laugh, but you're right.
Lord Almighty.
Okay, so we've got visualization in there. I love that. We've got the quick and dirty in there. I love that. I want to figure out what to do with this idea.
Cowboy movie, The Quick and the Dirty.
All right, I'm actually going to put this up here. Oops.
Something's off here. Nobody's watching what I'm doing.
Great eyeballer.
I hope Biblaridian's not watching what I'm doing. Not that much. Dang it.
5-star engineer. All right, this is where.
Measure twice, bite once. That's really cute.
Oh, I do like that.
The tool that beavers have, that engineers have associated with them, is kind of wrench that looks, it's funny, it looks a little bit like the mods wrench here, except it's flatter on either side. Because, of course, the reason our wrenches look that way is due to the way that standardization has occurred, in our buildings of things. So their standardization is different. They have square bolts, so they have.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
of course,
I was like,
Yeah, and the mice, of course,
thinking.
desperately want to introduce their hexagonal bolts, but
Obviously.
they're like, beavers and mice have different opinions about how building things should work. Oh boy, this is going to be really hard to figure out exactly how this curve should be.
Ooh.
What?
Kara says, do you have a tool on the list? You could name the engineer something they use.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about the wrenches.
Sorry.
All good.
That's why I can't brainstorm and participate at the same time.
That's big on.
Okay. Okay. Type this question on the screen here. Oh, mud thrower. I do like that. Someone who just throws mud at the problem. Okay. So in English, we have the expression that someone can be a green thumb. They can make anything grow, right?
Yeah.
So what would the equivalent be for a beaver who can build? Who it's like they can make anything out of anything. They have a blank. They have
a square paw.
A square paw. And square paw, I think, is going to be.
I like that idea.
It's going to be the 5-star because it's like
Yeah.
anything they get, boom. Oh, Jacob said a level tail. I do like that answer. Oh my God. Iron paw, nice. Golden tooth, yeah, cuts through anything. Oh, this is good stuff. Okay, so now I feel.
I gotta stop messing with it. It's fine. Anyway, yeah?
I feel like we have some good stuff to work with. A lot of them do require agentives, and I'm just going to be honest, I don't remember if we tackled that yet in this language. We did.
Yep.
David not only knew that we did, but it was like, boom, here it is.
SE comes
Whereas
from Sali.
Yesterday we had a whole discussion where I kept arguing with him about something and then found out that I was thinking of a different language with a completely different word order. And verb final for this one. Okay. Yeah. My word. A large toolbox, nice.
God, I hate this glyph. I hate this glyph. I hate it. I hate this glyph so much. Oh, I knew it was going to be problematic.
I'm sorry.
It looks terrible. it would look good in a different style, but that's not the style that we have. Oh, I hate this glyph so much. Oh. That help it a little bit?
I feel bad.
It does help it a little bit. But I don't know if that's going to fit with it.
This is based on my idea. We can get rid of it. We don't need cattail. We got other images.
That's fine. It's going to need to come over.
Yeah, David saved me last night because I was having a conversation with. Whoops, I didn't want that underlined. With a ball of yarn that had gotten all tangled up. That's right. It all betungled, and I was about ready to cut it off and just be like, I'm done. I'm just gonna cut it here and let the tungle be tungled. You know what I'm saying? And then David came in and, like, I swear, 30 seconds later, had the whole thing undone.
I untangled it.
Mm-hmm. You know, other people are saying they like it.
Here, I'm gonna throw up different versions. There's that. That's the original. Oops. I don't know. This one isn't anything. What the heck are they doing?
Oh, I don't know. Why is everything pasting? Okay. So I've got some words pulled.
All right, starting a new poll, and this isn't a for definites poll, but we have, I'm doing top, middle, bottom here. This middle one is the original. If you're wondering about the height of it, it matches the height of this character right here. This one, it's pulled up to 800, which matches like nothing. I don't know, but it just looks a little taller. This one, it's full X height, and now the cattail actually extends up to the level of the ascender.
They sound like they're upstairs. You sure you didn't let someone in today? And, you know, maybe they're building a door between units, and next thing we know, we're going to just have someone walk in. I wonder how thick our walls are, because could you accidentally, if you were like doing something, like adding a new feature on your side of the wall, like accidentally poke through and suddenly we have.
It seems it seems really unlikely. The battle rage is on. I don't know that.
All right, so we
seems pretty definite. So, well, you know, 800 is what do you call it? 2/3 height, right? So if your X height is 1200. Then 800 is 2/3 of the way. So maybe this is just going to have to become a point that we use from now on, I think. So that'll be something to keep in mind. Okay.
I think we need to talk about whether we want to have an augmentative derivation in this language for nouns.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the great eyeballer, which is going to be the basic meaning of whatever we do with it, We could, of course, have an adjective that means good, and then
I,
go from there. But I think we could also have an augmentative where we're like doing something built on like seer or looker.
well, I thought that we had an augmentative. I thought it was ash or ah,
We
which
have
comes from oak.
adjective, tool, place. We have ideas for augmentatives. I think we had the augmentative for adjectives.
What is oak tree? What does it give us? Because oak tree is ash, right? And in the proto.
Oh, we have a verb augment. Oak is al.
Yeah, we used it for something, didn't we? Is it just all, not ash?
It's all
Okay.
voiced.
It's voiced. There you go. Right there. Because it's like an oak tree, and the oak is the king of trees, right? They're, especially up there. They don't have redwoods.
But no, I don't see anything that we had made a note that if we take the word for bark, which is zo, and add the augmentative, that could mean food. So we had that idea. Our source for augmentatives, we had said it could be a word for food cache or the biggest tree in the area.
And I think that's an oak, yeah?
Someone else can verify, maybe. I thought it would be. But if someone else wants to verify, I would think that the oak is indeed. And there are actually multiple oaks. I don't know if there are multiple oaks in Canada, like red oak versus black oak versus white oak.
I am definitely not conversant in 90s deep purple.
Oh, yeah, that would have also been a nice idea to kind of chase down this idea that flooding could be, like a flood could be an augmentative, because it's like, it causes.
Well, we don't need one augmentative.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's a fun thing. I wanted to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Not that we need to use it, but I just.
No, I'm saying
I
like
liked it.
we can have several augmentatives, but I like this one so much. I'm just making it. I'm very sorry.
Jake says it looks like the tallest tree in Ontario right now is a white pine.
But what about thickness?
What about thickness, Jake? You know girth matters.
Yeah.
Karis, what? You saying I said something? Oh, Jake is on me too. Where's Mateus? Mateus is gone. Someone had to do it. Thank you, Miles.
Swarm.
Okay, and it's going to be a suffix.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever add, so like, we've got builder, right? Which then has the suffix, the agentive suffix, I should say, on the verb. So, won't say. Would you be able to get what would that be? Sol? Sale? Would you be able to stack them? Like the great builder?
I don't see why not. Anyway, we don't have any examples in our... Can we have... can you give me a noun that ends in 2 vowels in the protoform?
A noun that ends in 2 vowels in the protoform.
Ideally, a long vowel, like the same vowel.
Okay, so I have a different one. Though, I'm still looking. I is cloud.
Oh. Oh. Oh, never mind. Right, you can't get these. Oh, oh dear.
So I'm looking for something that doesn't exist.
That doesn't matter. Do we have as a general... But if this is very old... If this is very old... Let's just say that...
Ooh. Basket. Lou. L-U-U.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't want that anymore?
Um,
I was so excited.
I actually did want that. Son of a gun. Yeah, yeah, that was actually really important. So we have N is just our our epenthetic consonant. Is that right? LUU basket.
LUU is basket. And yes, N is the epenthetic.
Yeah, we do need that. Does anything happen when with an NL sequence?
With what, sorry?
The NL sequence?
I don't know. Look at our sound changes. There's post-nasal assimilation.
Actually, never 100% mine. I don't know what I was thinking.
L becomes an N after nasals.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate that, but no, it was completely and totally unnecessary. I have no idea what I was thinking. Completely. Bonkers bananas. Okay. I've got an augmentative that has been added to our red table. It's going to show up as L after vowels, except it can't show up as L after vowels that it can't appear after. So in other words, like you know, we've been really strictly adhering to this idea that coda consonants, that you can't have coda consonants after certain vowels because it wasn't that way in the past. At some point in time, that's going to break down. Feels kind of late in the game to undo that. But like, so for example, in the protoform, right, you could have K-A-I or you could have K-A-L. You could never have K-A-I-L. And for that reason, like, you know, imagine like we have thaki, right? And you add al after it. Well, it's like IA becomes E. So you could imagine thakel, except that in the proto stage, you could never have that sequence. You could never have IAL. And so we simply disallowed it. At some point in time, it's going to break down and you're just going to be able to have that sequence. But is it too late in the game to make that change?
What? So with this, are you looking specifically at Lunel?
No, that one has to be that way.
Okay.
I'm looking at thakil as opposed to thakel. Because if you wanted to write it in the orthography, you would write it the K-A glyph, then the I glyph, and then the L-A glyph, because it would just cancel out the first one, and you would get thakel. So like I was initially balking because I didn't think of how you could write it, but it could work. I don't know. uh, the ki glyph and then the a glyph. Sorry, I said that.
Mm-hmm.
I said the other one.
But anytime there was a long vowel, we would do the null.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that triple vowel shortening thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that the LUUA would become LUA and then LUA becomes something. Because we could do that. But
It only makes sense if it's so old and was so productive at its earliest stages that this happened.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it like augmentative, I would kind of associate it as kind of being there at an older stage, but not being so productive yet. That it's like, you know, it would take some time.
And that is essentially what the table represents at this stage.
I also feel like even if, because what you see in languages sometimes is like it does follow the irregular pattern, where like you have to memorize that there's this sound change. But then in later forms, it actually becomes more regular because it's like you just don't use it enough. Like you don't say the great tooth enough that you remember like it's thakil instead of thaki ul. And so
Sure.
like I feel like with the augmentative, with unless it's like a really specific concept to them, that it goes way back in their history, then it would all sound changes are game at that point. But I feel like with something like this, it would just be like kind of like, yeah, it's just an L when it ends in a vowel. It's this if it has a long vowel. It's this if it's a consonant.
Right.
It makes sense that a derivation would follow that.
Okay.
Because it's not, if it were an inflection, I feel like I would feel differently about it because those inflections show up so often that those little irregularities are preserved.
All right. Well, then let's roll with this for now. Why don't you go ahead and add this word for food? So we have bark. We now know the augmentative is going to be that suffix, and it's going to end up being zonal.
Mm-hmm. You okay over there?
It's entertaining the crowd.
Oh wait, you do suffix hyphen space asterisk.
No.
Asterisk hyphen?
Hyphen no space asterisk.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to do I yet. Well, actually, maybe in our new way of doing it, I would essentially become something like that. Kind of a funky character. Maybe I'll try it. Okay. I is me. It's cute.
David.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about trying to build off a verb for eyeballer, but what if it's just like a reduplication of I, Mimi, and then you add the L to it to be like the great one, Mimil, like the great eyeballer.
I guess if we were using I to mean eyeball.
Well, it was just an idea I was throwing out there, but you don't sound enthusiastic, so let's move on.
Well, I know that chat seemed to be very enthusiastic. I was trying to recommend squint so that we weren't using the exact same expression as English. But
Squint is good. I like squint.
I don't know, but like the great eye, like, so not eyeballer, but like good at seeing things could be the great eye. Menial. Kind of sounds like a cat word, but
Yeah, I don't like it. Let's think about what squint might be.
we need an inside corner.
We also need a root. That might mean use or throw or toss, something like that. Whoops, I forgot I wasn't supposed to click over there. Oh.
Okay, good. That's what we need. Get rid of that. And we're gonna put here we go. Interesting.
Well, one way, if we like the form mimile, because a lot of people like the word. What if the caster, because all the casters need an object, right?
Yeah.
What if it carried around like a buckeye or something like that, where it looks like an eyeball?
Is that why they're called Buckeyes?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Pretty sure, because it looks.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Like, start.
But that's also very English. Sorry.
No, like, I mean, but if there's a reason they're called that, you could go and call the Buckeye fruit.
Yeah, it's like an actual.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm just gonna say maybe do something with. I'm not feeling committed. Hi, Miles.
Trying my best here to rescue these. What's that at 250?
Oh, Magpie is saying the great eye could also be the moon.
It's kind of cool. Here.
Oh, Juno is saying that perhaps Buckeye might have been based on a calc from a native word.
Oh, interesting. Gosh, this glyph for I just got funky. And I think it's going to get funkier. Oh, 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 oh. I like it.
I don't see what happened. What's going on, David?
I did something.
I have done nothing.
You've done some good stuff.
Not really.
What's even the point of being underconfident? I don't get it.
I'm acknowledging the fact that I've really not done much.
Sure. That's good. So now that we're actually staring down the barrel of 4, we might go ahead and do the do another picture poll.
What did you ever show what you were so excited about that you were working on that you made a noise about?
Yes, I did.
I missed it.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know what's going on.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's really cool. Man, it almost looks like a modern university logo where one of their characteristic features is 2 towers or something.
Ooh.
And anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So we did the lily pad, but water lily is different. Interesting.
Because the flower on top is different.
Because it's the water lily.
Mm-hmm.
There's a head.
Would the beavers, with their
Feel up to that, yeah.
use of squareness, what would be a good source for a word? Because we've got this idea for like square paw, but where would square come from?
This is my thought. The beavers really, they do like natural construction because their dams are natural construction, but something that I think would kind of capture their imagination is the notion of a square, which is not found in nature, right? It's this kind of perfect thing, and so trying to achieve that through natural means. And so, can anybody help us out? Is there anything? Because I just said that. I don't know if I agree with it. Is there anything in nature that's square? Because I couldn't think of anything straight off. There are things that are circular. There are things that are hexagonal.
Kara says some crystals, but question mark. So I don't know if that means that's a suggestion.
Goats do.
Goats have rectangular pupils?
Yeah.
I have never looked a goat in the eye that closely.
They have very strange...
wombat poo. Square, plumb, level, balance.
Done roots.
Business. Yeah, Eric, apparently I need to go get eye level with goats. I don't...
Yeah, goat eyes are famous.
Is bismuth a type of like a stone or a gem or something? Dark Horse? Okay, so Jake says pyrite forms quadrilateral type structures, but they aren't quite square.
Water lily, that's what we're going to do. Water lily is L.
An element, thank you. It's a metal, not a rock. Ore was the word I was looking for, not gem.
Isn't metal a type of rock?
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know, babe. Like, I feel like metal is its own category, but I could be wrong, so I'm not sure.
because they're outside corners. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, Miles, you're right. Some rocks can cleave in flat sheets. So it's a flat sheet. It wouldn't be square, but it would be flat on the side. Yeah, I'm racking my brain, and there's a lot of shapes in nature, but boy, they sure don't tend to have edges, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like straight edges, 90-degree edges.
And isn't that why it would just be so interesting to our beavers? So maybe it's just got to be, maybe it's just got to be a root.
Eric says depends on the scientific field. For an astrophysicist, anything that's not helium or hydrogen is metal. Love it. Yeah.
Metallic nitrogen.
Okay, so are you happy with it being a root? Since it's this abstract sort of thing
Sure
that
am.
they're...
Yeah, so just something that sounds good with what we need it to go with, you know?
Can you remind me, do adjectives go before or after the noun?
They go after.
So paw is the head noun, and that's hmav.
Mm-hmm.
So we need hmav something for square. So I feel like a vowel might be a good start.
Is there anything that makes that disappear? Is the V bilabial?
It's a v, yeah.
So if it started with a U, it would be mawu. Is that right?
Yeah, if it was shoved together as a compound word that underwent sound changes, then yeah.
This is square paw. Mauk. Mauk. Because it's like the oo is, you know, kind of round, and so that's close to the square, but then it ends in a stop, like mauk. Mauk.
And are you okay with wook being in your...
Mauk.
The number of times we've done things to specifically avoid woo being a segment.
Yeah, like the only question is if that's the correct stop. Mauk, maut, mahuth, because that was what it would end up being. Mauk. No, I think mauk is perfect. What is this for again?
Square paw, the engineer.
That's incredible. Mauk.
It's the 4-star engineer.
It sounds so powerful. And it's like, this is 4-star, yeah?
Oh, no, 5-star. It's the 5-star.
Well, I was thinking because like you could have mauk and maukal.
We can do that and get rid of one of the other twos.
What were the other twos?
One was something that connotes a sort of bunger upper.
Yeah.
A mud thrower was one idea. And then something built on squint for like a great eyeballer.
Could do that. I need, Uni 2113 trademark in lieu. I need some eyeballs. And this will be the last thing we do. This is so important. I think these are so cool. This is another top, middle, bottom pole. Jess, go ahead and take a look at this as well. Our water lily is our second to last character.
Oh.
So the bottom one is just X height. I just made it X height. The top one was the first one that more closely matched the original image.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, it's like the petals go down into the water. It's a theoretical third one, which is the bottom one with an ascender.
Wait, I put square in as a noun in the entry. Does that make sense, or should... Okay. And then a word final K just stays a K, right? Like, so, ook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody want to see the bottom one with a an extended? Especially since bottom is winning. I mean, well, marginally.
If bottom wins, I think we should see both.
Okay.
And we can have a runoff for what version of the bottom one.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, honestly, the top one would have been my vote, except then I was swayed by the fact that we had just had a poll where Bud, the descender, won. And so I was like, well, I'll vote for the descending. So I went for middle, even though the top one was actually my favorite.
Kind of like how now middle is coming back. Or was that your vote?
I voted a while ago.
Now it's even.
But I literally only voted for that one because we had just done that one right beside it for Bud and voted to have it as a descender.
Man, this is really tough.
That's what swayed me. Otherwise, I would have just straight up voted top row.
Stay grammar, one and all, who are grammaring away. I think what I'm going to do is, I think this has to be the poll. I think this is. So Omega. Just want to make sure you think it's worthy of being. Jess, do you think, looking at the screen now, the bottom should be considered?
You know, it's interesting. I feel like it should, just because it's, you know, it provides something to the overall shape. And if you like the tall petals on the sides, you might like that tall center. I can't believe we had a three-way tie on that.
Yeah.
And Jake, go for those midnight noodles and enjoy them.
Let's just see what everybody says.
Oh, glad I read all the options before I just voted. Otherwise, I would have voted wrong.
That sounds like a good combination right there. Midnight noodles and rice. In fact, that sounds like a potential TV show, buddy cop show. Midnight noodles and rice. And Rice is all like, come on, man. You can't lean on that perp again. Midnight Noodles says, just watch me. All right, Jake. Time to midnight noodle away. I think this will be the poll just because I want to see what people say. Give myself a week on it to think about it. Anyway, so yeah, we'll give that some thought. Stay ye in grammar while ye may. Old time is still a-flying. For every day, the nudes, the rice is surely dying.
And with that, everyone have a good day, good week. If you're a patron, our patron stream is this Saturday instead of the last Saturday of the month because we will be out of town on that Saturday. So we will see you in 2 days if you can be there. Stay grammar.
Bye, everybody.